What's going on, guys? So I was trying to go live in the group with my phone, but you guys were saying there was a lot of static. So I'm just going to try to record this video and then I'll throw it in the group. So I love that you guys are doing this Summit Push group, and I love that this first week is all about mindset because there's really only two things I ever teach in this business, which is mindset and skills. So Coach Basics, I run a Coach Basics group every first Monday of the month, and you guys are all welcome to be in there, and any of your coaches and new coaches and your coaches can always be in that group. So the next one will be July 6th. I think that's the first Monday of July. So it's basically 14 days, and then like every day is like a little 3 to 5 minute video. So people learn a little bit each day. So by the end of the 14 days, they have like this really great foundation because they've learned a lot, but they don't get overwhelmed because it's just 3 to 5 minutes a day. And then everyone comments with their top takeaways from the video each day. And they get to meet the other new coaches and kind of bond with kind of that incoming class. But I love that you guys are doing this for this push group and that this week's all mindset. So, the name of this video is going to be called like escalator mindset, farmer mindset, millionaire mindset, all different names, but the exact same thing. So anytime someone asks me about how do you create a long-term income with this business that's going to create financial freedom in your life, or if someone asks me how do you create a team, how do you create a business with Beachbody that's going to have this huge ripple effect and this huge impact on a lot of people's lives, and the answer to those two questions is the same thing. Drum roll, develop leaders. So one or two great leaders is really all it takes to create a huge ripple effect in this business and at the same time create a lot of financial gain in your life. So that's what I'm going to talk about today is kind of like what that mindset looks like. I think a lot of people don't really look at the big picture, and that's the big picture. Being able to develop just one or two great leaders, and they don't even have to be your personally sponsored coaches. Like you could sponsor somebody, a new coach that's kind of into it. They don't really have like that all-in mindset, but then they find someone that wants to do the business as a coach, and then you can work with them. And if that person turns into a leader, that's just as good as if it was one of your own. Sometimes it's even better. So that's the big picture, is being able to just understand that you need to develop one or two great leaders, one or two people that have this, that eventually get to the point where they have this growth mindset, where they want to be working out every day and eating right and reading personal development and doing some kind of gratitude and surrounding themselves with positive people, because they know when they're doing those things, they just feel like a much better version of themselves. And sometimes they might not be ready for that right away, but if they're watching you and they're seeing you doing those things every day, fueling this little 6 inches between your ears every day, doing your gratitude, your personal development, your workouts, your nutrition, surrounding yourself with positive people, and they're starting to see the impact that's having on you, it's going to create maybe a little bit of a spark in them, but not enough of a fire to eventually take action themselves. But you've kind of started to create that little bit of a spark. They're going to need to watch you sometimes for another 6 months before that spark ignites a fire in them. Maybe they're going to have to watch you a year. Some people are going to have to watch you for 2 years or 3 years. But it's inevitable that those little sparks you're kind of creating in people are going to ignite a fire in a few people eventually. It's just kind of an inevitable truth. So that's the big picture I'm always looking at, is like, I don't need to sell 1 million challenge packs or sign 1 million coaches. Like, I just need to be able to lay enough sparks and ignite that fire in just a few people that are going to have that growth mindset, that want to be doing those things every day because they know it makes them feel like the best version of themselves, and they're going to want to share that with other people because they want to have an impact in other people's lives as well. And I just know that I've seen it happen, that that's just how it works. Like it's going to take you being consistent and patient and with those little things every day and allowing people to watch you every day before they're going to be able to turn that little spark into igniting that fire in them. So that's the big picture. Developing those one or two people that turn into those leaders. And the catch is that they're going to have to watch you show up and be consistent with this thing, with all of your own things, with your own routines and your own growth for sometimes 6 months or a year or sometimes 2 years before they're going to be ready to ignite that fire in themselves and really start to get the momentum going. And when they do become a coach and they get that fire going a little bit, it's going to take them 6 months or a year before they're able to find their one or two leaders that fire gets ignited in them. So that's the big picture, finding and being able to develop those one or two leaders. But the catch is, it just takes time. But in the meantime, you're working on yourself and you're growing yourself. But you got to understand that you got to have that patience with this process. And I think that's the biggest mistake I made, was I thought that me having that spark and that little fire was immediately going to create a spark and fire in others. And unfortunately, that's not how this thing always works. They need to watch you show up every day for a while before they're going to be ready. And that's just what a lot of coaches don't quite get. So I try to explain that to people with visual examples because we're visual learners, right? So the one I always like to use is what I call the escalator mindset. And I'm sure some of you guys have tried to run up the escalator, the down escalator at the mall or at the airport. I'm sure some of you have tried to run up the down escalator, trying to run up against the traffic of the escalator. It's kind of fun. Like, you got to run really fast, otherwise it'll pull you back down. But it's kind of fun to see if you can do it. And sometimes in this business, that's how it feels. You feel like you're excited and you're running and you're doing your own stuff and you're sharing with other people. But maybe your business isn't growing as fast as you want because you're kind of running up the down escalator. You're kind of going against the traffic. You're kind of going against the traffic of life. Everyone's just kind of going through the motions. They're not spending the time to work on their mindset and eat right and work out. So you're kind of going against the grain, and you need to be continuing to do that over and over and over before someone's finally going to say, okay, I want to get on this escalator with them. But because they need to watch you for a while, it's going to feel like sometimes your business isn't growing as fast as you want. Just like when you're running up the down escalator, it feels like you're not moving up that escalator as fast as you want. And what happens is we sometimes get discouraged that it's not happening as fast as we want, and then we take breaks. And what happens when you're on the down escalator and you get discouraged or tired and you stop and you take breaks? What happens? When you don't just stay where you were, it brings you back down to the bottom. And all those people you had kind of started to plant those seeds in and had started to maybe create a little spark in them, they see you stop. They see you get discouraged. They see you fall off your own routine. They see you stop sharing. They see you stop inviting. And then you lose all that credibility. You lose that spark. That little fire that you might have ignited in them starts to go out. And they never take that action. They never get on board. Or maybe they did get on board and they were kind of starting to get on the escalator with you, but then they see you stop and get discouraged and fall off because life gets hard and things happen and just life gets in the way. And then they see you go back down the escalator and they're like, okay, I'm not going to be on this escalator if they're not. And then they fall off and you guys all lose this momentum. And that's what I did to myself the first few years of this business. I just went up and down the escalator. I'd be excited. I'd have the spark. I'd have a little fire. I'd ignite a little fire in other people. I'd be doing my personal development, sharing, on my own journey, helping other people on their journey. But then my business wasn't growing as fast as I wanted. I wasn't making as much income as I wanted right away. And life was getting hard with other things going on in my life because there's always things that come up in life. And I'd fall off a little bit, and then people would see that me fall off, and then I'd go back down the escalator. They'd go back down the escalator. And then I'd get pissed at myself, and I have to get back on the escalator and start over again, kind of from square one. But meanwhile, I was seeing all these other people, start and just stay consistent longer than I was staying consistent. They weren't doing anything different than I was doing, but they were just doing it more consistently and staying more patient with those things and staying on the escalator, and those sparks they were planting in other people were igniting fires, and they were starting to develop one or two really great leaders. And they started to see the financial gain. They started to see the ripple effect that was really starting to happen. And I think that along the lines of that escalator mindset example, there's the farmer example, the farmer mindset. And so there's a big difference between a hunter and a farmer. A hunter will go out and expect to bring something home that day. And I think a lot of new coaches, including myself, when I was a new coach, I had this hunter mentality where I was like, all right, I'm excited about this. I'm going to go out. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to bring home sales right away. I'm going to sign up coaches right away. And what I didn't understand is that's not how this business works. It's not a hunter's mentality. It's a farmer's mentality. A farmer doesn't go out and expect to bring something home that day. A farmer goes out and just plants a bunch of seeds and just continues to show up every day and water those crops. And the way you water those seeds is by showing up to your own journey every day and allowing those people to see you continue to grow. That's how that little spark ignites into a fire. That's how those seeds you're planting start to grow. So you got to have this escalator mindset, this farmer's mindset of, okay, I'm just going to go out and plant a bunch of seeds every day, and I'm not expecting to bring anything home today, but I'm just going to plant seeds, and I'm going to show up every day and water those crops by just showing up to my own journey. And some of those seeds aren't going to turn into anything, but a few of them are going to start to sprout and grow into something really cool. So along the lines of the escalator mindset is the farmer mindset. They're the same thing. And that's something that I think a lot of coaches just need to grasp and understand, that this is a long-term, patient, consistent mindset. And that's the secret to the business. It's not that these successful coaches are doing anything different than anybody else. They're just doing them more consistently and are having more patience. And I think people can tell the difference between somebody who's just doing it with this hunter's mentality, people that are just coaches that are just doing it to like get rich quick or make some money right away, versus people that have this farmer's mentality that are like, no, I'm doing these things because this is what makes me feel like the best version of myself, and I'm going to continue to do these things for the rest of my life no matter what. Whether you join me or not, I'm going to be doing these things. And if you want to come with me, great. But if you don't, great. And the mindset I like to teach around inviting others is, a lot of people have this like they feel like they're annoying people, or they feel like they're bugging people. And the way I think about inviting people to a challenge group is the same way I think about inviting people to a party that I'm throwing at my house on Friday night. If you were going to throw a party at your house Friday night, you would just invite your friends, and if they show up, you'd be excited to hang out with them, and it would be fun. Same thing with a challenge group. If you invite people to your house on Friday night to a party and they can't make it for whatever reason, you're not going to get upset. You're not going to be like, oh my God, I feel like I was bugging them, inviting them to the party. Like, that's crazy. You would never think that way. You just, the thing that I worry about is that I'm going to throw a party at my house Friday night, but I'm going to forget to invite one of my friends, and then they're going to see on social media that I was throwing this party and we were having this great time, but I forgot to invite them, and they're going to feel like they got left out. I could care less if they show up to the party or not. I could care less if they decide to join my challenge group or not, but I want to make sure that they know that they're invited to the party. And if they show up, awesome. We're going to have a great time. They're going to meet some great people. They're going to have fun. And I'm going to let them know that it's a BYOB, or in this case, a BYOCP, bring your own challenge pack. And if they can make it, great. And I'm going to introduce them to some cool people, and we're going to get to spend a lot of time together and have a great time. But if they can't make it to the party, like, no big deal. I'm going to be running these parties every month. I'm going to be throwing these parties every month. And if they can't make it this month, no big deal. But I want them to know that they're always invited to the next party. And if they can make it next month, awesome. If they can't, no big deal. No, it's not I have no attachment to whether or not they make it to the party or not. I just want to make sure that they know they have the invitation to every party that I throw each month, and that's it. And I think people can tell the difference between someone who's like needs to like have the yes and is like attached to the person's response versus someone who's just throwing parties and is having a great time and is excited to be a part of it, and surrounding themselves with all these cool coaches on Team Destin and Team Boom, and just is making sure that everyone knows they have the invitation, that their friends have the invite, that you have the invite, that they have the invite, and it's an open invitation that they can show up, to any party any month. People can tell the difference between someone who's attached to the response and someone who's just having a great time and just is throwing out an open invitation to people. And that's like that party mindset. That's the same as the escalator mindset. It's the same as the farmer mindset. It's all the same thing. And it's the same as the millionaire mindset. That type of mindset is what leads to people eventually showing up to the party and creating that little spark into a fire in them and developing those one or two leaders, whether it's a person-sponsored coach or maybe it's one of your coaches. It's just kind of hashtag inevitable. We use this all the time. Hashtag inevitable. Hashtag escalator mindset. Hashtag farmer mindset. Hashtag millionaire mindset. Though that's all the same thing. It's all the exact same thing, and we talk about it all the time. And I think that's the biggest thing that you have to understand as a new coach, and help your coaches understand, is that this is a long-term escalator farmer party mindset. And once coaches get that and they understand that, and that it just becomes their lifestyle, the people that are watching them see that difference in them, and some of those seeds they're planting start to sprout. Some of those sparks they're creating start to ignite fires in other people, and they go on to develop those one or two great leaders that want to run with them and create this lifestyle with them. And then the financial freedom starts to come along with that. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'm excited that this whole week's all about mindset, and I'm glad that I got to kind of help you guys kick it off and start to talk about that long-term big picture mindset. That's what's going to lead to finding those one or two great leaders, those one or two people that have that same fire, that have that same escalator long-term mindset. And that's the big picture, one or two great leaders. And it just comes down to finding, that mindset within yourself, and just, letting people know that this is a party that's going to be going on for a long time, and they're welcome to join anytime they want. So I'm excited for you guys. I'll see you guys on the escalator. I'll see you guys out at the farm planting the seeds. I'll be out there planting seeds, for the rest of my life. It's just something that I just know that's just who I am. I'm going to be throwing parties the rest of my life. I'm going to be showing up as a farmer the rest of my life. I'm going to be on the escalator, the rest of my life, because it's just who I am. It's what makes me feel like the best version of myself, and I love seeing that spark in other people, and I'm starting to see the spark in some of you guys, and I think it's such a cool thing, and you guys are going to start to see that spark. The seeds you're planting, you're going to start to see them sprout, and you guys are going to see how fun that is, and such a great party to be a part of. So I'm excited for this group. I'm excited for Summit. I'm excited for this push these next few weeks. And I'll be talking to you guys soon. I'll see you guys on the escalator. See you guys.